What's up everybody, and welcome to the channel. In today's video we're checking out this 2026 Ford Mustang EcoBoost. This one's finished off in vapor blue with an MSRP at $39,500. So this is a 4-cylinder Mustang, so can a muscle car actually be something fun with a 4-cylinder engine? In today's market there's really not any American cars that are going to compete with this anymore. Camaro's gone. Dodge Challenger and Charger are just electric cars, and then the 6-cylinder. So nothing really in this class aside from going more European. So honestly, a BMW 230i is probably your best bet as far as a competitor to the EcoBoost. So what do you guys think of this car? So this is going to feature that 2.3 liter inline 4-cylinder turbocharged engine with 315 horsepower and 350 pound-feet of torque. We get a 10-speed automatic, a 3.15 limited slip rear differential. Of course, it's rear-wheel drive. 0 to 60 is 4.5 seconds. You get a 16-gallon fuel tank, 3,600 pound curb weight, and then at 22 miles per gallon in the city with 33 out on the highway. And then for the engine, of course, pretty simple in here, nothing all too fancy. And then moving on to the exterior design, the vapor blue is a really cool color. I like it. It's kind of maybe a pale blue, but with a pearl to it. Got the nice LEDs on the headlights with these triple beam design, very classic for any Mustang. Really cool looking right there. We have that blacked out pony badge. There's little corner lights in here. Plastic grille with large openings to provide cooling, more openings, and a safety sensor down below. Got a small chin spoiler and then sharp lines throughout it. I think this is a good looking generation for Ford. I think they've done a good job on the new Mustang, just giving it a more edgy, sharp design. You're gonna get sharp body lines all throughout the hood, leading towards that windshield, and of course, being a Mustang, you have that long front end. At the side, we have a cool looking set of gloss black wheels. They are 19-inch diameter with this multi-spoke look. Then you just have one sharp line throughout the front, and then a clean line throughout this side profile. You're gonna see this plastic black material for the side skirt, body color on the door handles, and then we have just the black on the mirror caps. All black trim throughout the windows, and then I like how we got a black roof, shark fin antenna, third brake light, and then the side profile looks really good on these cars. You just have that classic fastback style. I like how the center line cuts into this fender arch, just giving it a really nice look. Much wider rear tires as well, giving it that muscle car appearance. And then we have a small gloss black lip spoiler. Looks good with a spoiler. Without it, I think it looks a little plain back here. So the rear end, a lot sharper than the previous generations. We got the triple beam LED taillights, rear view backup camera, Mustang badge in the center, parking sensors, and then a dual exhaust system. Yeah, this cool looking diffuser, and then we had that reverse light right in the center. So not a bad looking car, just a little bit more edgy than the previous generation. For the trunk, we do have a button on the back. You can also use the key fob or the one on the interior, and then we have a nice sized trunk in here. So flat load floor can easily fit suitcases, golf bags, really anything you need. And then we have a spare tire too. Closing this all manually, taking a look at the interior now. So those rear seats are going to fold nice and flat, giving you a large opening into that trunk too. So definitely pretty practical. And then pulling these up, climbing in the back isn't the most graceful thing in the world. It is definitely a very cramped back seat. However, at 5'11" and the driver's seat at my height, I can actually fit here. Not to say I'm comfortable, I am very cramped with no headroom, but in a pinch you can fit your friends. Little kids would definitely fit perfectly fine back here. So for what it is, not bad. Again, challenging to get out, not graceful at all, but nonetheless, pretty practical car. And then as we take a look at the interior, you're just gonna get some plastic material for the door, and then I love the soft touch material throughout the center. There's even the fabric trim on the insert, and then there is this plastic carbon fiber. So you got this trim all around it, nice looking release handle, window controls, mirror controls as well, storage down below. And then for the seat, you're gonna get some power controls up front, manual controls as well, and then more of the synthetic leather style with the fabric all throughout the center. Now these are the basic seats, but they still look really good, little bolsters to them. And then hopping inside, nice new interior of course, and then with my foot on the brake, let's fire it up. So you got your two screens that are going to turn on. The premium cars will have kind of the integrated single screen. It's still pretty much all the same stuff, just a little bit different in style. Flat bottom steering wheel, black leather, more of the carbon fiber plastic, and then the silver trim all throughout it. We have volume control and then steering wheel settings. you can easily, quickly go through. We have drive modes over on this left side along with some cruise control settings. So you're gonna get a nice animation for each drive mode. It does take kind of a while to get into each one because it's gotta play its animation. So you click it and then click it again, let it do its thing, and you can go into your drive mode. But nonetheless, you got a cool tack now in the track mode, and then several other drive modes you can take a look at. So pretty cool setup overall. You're gonna see your tack speedometer, and then we of course have your basic information throughout the bottom, and then in the center we can scroll through on a lot of the screens all sorts of different information. Okay, your windshield wiper stock on the right, high beams and turn signals over on the left, and just a nice setup overall. Got the trunk button, interior dimming, headlights, more of this plastic carbon, and then kind of a soft touch material for the whole dashboard. You got more of the plastic carbon fiber material, Mustang badge, air vent, and then another look at the dual screens. Honestly, it would be cool if they could integrate a screen more with the trim so I can kind of see what people are saying. It would be nice, but I don't know, you kind of get used to it, I guess. So you have a nice home screen with all sorts of different information. You have several different apps over here that'll turn on. You can see on the right side, we also have right in the center, all of that you can adjust. We can go into features as well. You're gonna get more information right in the center, and then we also have apps. Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, which is a great touch. Climate control is always gonna be down here, so you can easily toggle your temperature. We have heated seats on this one. And then for fan speed, all you have to do is just tap that and you can see it all turn on. We have this icon as well we can go into to see kind of the whole flow of all the air. So while, yeah, you have climate controls in the screen, it's not that difficult given they're always right here. For reverse, you got a pretty HD backup camera along with your different guidelines and parking sensors. More of the plastic carbon and air vents, and then we have another icon to get to this screen. So that you can also get to if you go under features. You'll see My Mustang, which is the same as tapping the icon right here. So from here, this screen has a lot of good stuff. You're going to see line lock, different timers. We also have auxiliary gauges. You're able to adjust this and have different views. So all these you can configure what you want to see. So really great design right there. And then we also have a custom mode where you can configure different drive modes, different profiles, all that. And then we have My Color. So this is neat for primary or something. You could change it and that will actually do some of the trim colors. You can see that tack just change as well. So pretty cool, just all the different colors you can play with. Cluster theme. So in match drive mode, of course, it will change depending on your drive mode. However, this is a quicker way just to see all the different screens. So track mode, of course, looks really good. Calm mode, not sure why you would ever do that. It's a big screen with just a tiny little dial. But you also have the classics, which is pretty neat. So you got the 60 style, you got the Fox body as well, and then we have the Cobra. So fun displays that you can play with it throughout the car. We'll stick with the matching the drive mode. You're also gonna get the engine starter, of course, start, stop, volume, a couple plugs and storage, a little bit more of that plastic carbon, harder plastics throughout the center. And then we have some cup holders, padded armrest, and then storage right in the center. Lockable glove box on the far right side as well. And then one last look at the interior. Overall, I think it's a nice place to be. They've done a good job updating it from the previous gen, a little bit more modern, a little bit more refined as well. You got your sunglass holder, dome lights, and then a simple mirror up above. All right, so setting off now in the 2026 Mustang EcoBoost. So one thing to take into consideration, there's no paddle shifters, and I don't believe you can even get the 6-speed manual. So you're really just left with the automatic, which is fine for probably most buyers of this car. However, you know, personally, I'd like to be able to have a little bit more control over the transmission. With that said, we're in just normal mode, just kind of getting my bearings with it. Overall, the seat is pretty comfortable. I wouldn't mind being able to sink it a little bit lower. I do feel a little tall in here. Good visibility overall. Can't really complain about that. Easily see over your left and right shoulder. Really no complaints with the view around. I will say, for even just baby throttling it, just getting up to speed, this thing's pretty peppy. It's got a decent amount of power, especially for being a 4-cylinder. I mean, you're not going to get in and think it's sluggish. It definitely gets up to speed well. It's just really just throttle, so you don't obviously have those gear changes, which you can't play with. So that's just the one thing that's kind of getting me on this versus previous generations. But nonetheless, overall ride quality, it is pretty comfortable. You don't really feel any crazy bumps or anything like that. You can hear some of the wind noise and road noise, so it's not like the most luxurious sound car in the world. You just kind of hear that and feel that a little bit. Now, with that said, if we go into the track the sweet tachometer and everything. Throttle gets a little bit more touchy. The steering has sharpened up a little bit. And of course it'll turn off, the engine start stop, and a couple other things. So it gives you a good way to kind of adjust the car and how everything performs. If we slow down a little bit, keeps the revs a little bit higher. And it'll hold the revs pretty well as well if you are driving it a little bit harder. So I like how the drive modes really do something in the car. But again, it is kind of funny just to have to rely on it in automatic mode. I'm just so used to being able to have manual shift in some way, shape, or form. I mean, it's got a nice amount of torque, good power overall. And then back in normal mode, everything will settle down. Now, for the interior, you have pretty decent use of materials. There are some hard plastics, but there's also a lot of soft touch and just the cooler style to it. Same with the double screen. Everyone's not the biggest fan of it. It seems people would much rather have some sort of integration, but you kind of get used to it. The dashboard is higher than the screen, so this doesn't seem like it's just a big tablet stuck on. It's not as bad as some people think, so give it a chance at least. But I don't know, I guess just driving this, it does feel like a pretty normal car. This would be an average daily driver, really nothing, you know, that would be challenging to live with from the day-to-day. So it's a very normal car, but you do have that nice fun factor to it with a little bit more sporty characteristic, especially when you're in the track mode or something like that. So decent blend of everything, and it's just a roomy, normal, practical car. This is a great daily driver. There's really no compromises if you want to use this, you know, every single day. Steering is light enough for average driving. However, it does tighten up enough to be a little bit on that sporty edge. So again, this isn't like a Mustang GT Premium. You know, if you really want a muscle car, that's the one you're gonna want. Of course, give it a 6-speed manual. But I mean, even in sport mode, which sport mode actually I kind of like better, given it's not too aggressive to where you wish you could upshift, but it's also a little bit more snappy than normal. So sport mode feels pretty good actually when you have to rely on automatic only. But it gives it a good blend, and the shifting is quick when you kind of hammer it and everything. But yeah, overall driving characteristics, not a bad car. Just you know, more on the basic side for this specific trim, but peppy enough and fun enough for an average price point car.